Why, hello, Royals of Bridgewater. I'm Sleeping Beauty. It's so wonderful to see all of you today. I'm going to be sharing a story and some songs with you. I do hope you enjoy. This story is called Ready, Set, Throw. I swept a pile of dust and crumbs out the door. I think I'll go for a walk in the woods, I told my aunt. It's such a beautiful day. That sounds nice, dear, said my Aunt Flora. Bring back some pecans and I'll make a pie, called Aunt Flora. Don't be too long, dear, Aunt Merriweather added. After I had found a basket for the nuts, I waved to my aunts and started toward the woods. Soon I reached a small stream. A snail family clung to a leafy twig that was floating in the water. The wind must have blown your branch into the stream, I said. Here, let me help. I picked up the branch and set it on the grass. Hurry home, I told the snails. Then I giggled. Well, I know snails don't hurry, so maybe I should have said, have a safe journey. As I continued on, something furry raced by. It was 2 squirrels. They scampered across a log that had fallen over the stream, climbed up the tree, and disappeared into a hollow. Soon they ran down the tree and hurried toward a pile of pecans. I began to gather nuts and noticed that the squirrels were collecting them too. When I saw them running back and forth from the nut pile to the tree, I realized they were storing food for the winter. Oh my, I told them, it's going to take you all day. I wonder if I can help. I looked at the tree. It wasn't that far away. I picked up a nut and threw it at the hollow. Plop! It landed in front of the tree. I said, I bet I can do better. I took aim and threw again. This time, the nut sailed right into the hollow. Surprised and pleased, I tossed another nut. It went in too. I clapped my hands excitedly. Then I counted out 5 more pecans. 2 missed, but 3 went in. This is fun, I exclaimed. And the more nuts that go in, the easier it'll be for the squirrels. Just then, my Aunt Flora walked over. You've been gone quite a while, dear. Sorry, I replied. I was playing a game. And I lost track of time. What kind of game? Asked Flora. I'm trying to toss pecans into that hollow, I said, pointing to the tree. It's fun, plus it helps the squirrels. I handed a nut to my aunt. Why don't you give it a try? Flora threw the pecan quickly. It flew past the tree. I'm not very good at this, she said with a sigh. Don't give up, Aunt Flora, I said. Try again. Flora took a pecan, aimed, and then threw more gently. It went in. Good for you, I said. A few minutes later, Merriweather found us. Oh, there you are, she exclaimed. I was starting to worry. She paused. What are you 2 doing? We're helping the squirrels, I replied. Come and play, Flora added. Merriweather picked up a nut. Here goes, she said. She threw slowly. Splash! The nut fell into the stream. Merriweather was determined, though. She kept throwing pecans. One hit a squirrel on the head. The animal giggled, but Merriweather frowned. I'll never get it, she said. Have you ever felt discouraged while playing a game before? You know that practice makes perfect. Don't give up, I said encouragingly. Flora handed Merriweather 5 more pecans. Merriweather picked one up, closed one eye, and took aim. Then she threw as hard as she could. This time, the nut sailed right into the tree hollow. Hooray! Flora and I cried. Just then, Fauna strolled over. Goodness, she said. I couldn't imagine what was keeping everyone. We're playing a game, Merryweather explained. Join us. It's great fun, Flora added. That's okay, Fauna said as she sat down on a log. I'll just watch for a while. The others went back to their game. This time, I got all 5 pecans into the hole. Flora got 4 in and Merryweather got 3. You're both doing so much better, I said, complimenting them. Flora and Merryweather clapped and cheered. Fauna couldn't stand it any longer. I think I'll play after all, she said. She grabbed a pecan and threw it as hard as she could. The nut zoomed over the stream. Birds flew out of its way as it bounced off a branch, thumped against the ground, then went right into the hollow. The others cheered. That was fun, Fauna exclaimed, jumping up and down. I want to try again. It's my turn, Flora objected. But Fauna didn't move. She got down on one knee. Then she looked right, then left, and threw another pecan. Again, the nut bounced, thumped, and landed in the hole. Yes, Fauna cried. My trick shot worked. Trick shot? It was more like a lucky shot, Flora grumbled. Fauna reached over and stole a pecan from Flora's pile. Those are mine, complained Flora, and you're in my way. Oh, sorry, said Fauna. She stepped aside and bumped into Merryweather. Now you spoiled my shot, Merryweather complained as the pecan she'd been about to throw fell to the ground. I didn't do it on purpose, Fauna protested. Yes, you did, Merryweather insisted. Oh my goodness, they were making such a fuss over a game. But it's important to take turns, isn't it? I watched my aunts in dismay. They had been having so much fun, and now everyone was angry. What should we do? We were helping the squirrels and having a good time, I reminded my aunts. Remember? My aunts just scowled. Everyone has different talents. Some of you are better at throwing than others, but you all tried your best. That's what's important, I said. Briar Rose is right, Merryweather said. I'm sorry, Fauna. I was jealous of you for that fancy shot. I was too, admitted Flora. I'm sorry. Well, I shouldn't have bragged, and I shouldn't have gotten in your way, said Fauna. Everyone went to work, picking up the rest of the pecans. My aunts and I filled our baskets and put the rest of the pecans in the hollow of the tree, and then we went back to the cottage. Merryweather had enough pecans to bake 2 pies. Once the pies were in the oven, Flora asked Fauna how she had made that first shot. It's easy, Fauna said, jumping up. I'll show you. She grabbed an egg and started to wind up. No, we all shouted at the same time, ducking for cover. Let's save that for another game, I said with a big smile. Why, playing a game with pecans is one thing, but an egg, that's another thing. That would be very messy. And that's the end of my story. Thank you for listening. I sighed. I loved being married to Prince Philip, but life in the palace was so different from what I was used to. 3 kind fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, had raised me in a cottage in the woods to protect me from an evil spell. I had so much to do there, from cooking and cleaning, to playing with my animal friends and going on walks. Now that I lived in the palace, it seemed like all I did was plan and attend parties. Tonight there would be yet another royal ball, and everyone was fussing over the plans. The royal chef couldn't decide on an ice sculpture. The royal florist and the table setter couldn't agree on flowers. While they were bickering, my prince came in. "Hello, dearest," he said. I beamed and gave him a hug. The table setter and the florist were very annoyed at the interruption. "Princess," the royal florist said, "could you please tell the royal table setter that she must place the flowers in the middle of each table tonight?" "Princess," said the royal table setter, "could you please tell the florist that our guests will never see one another if I put his big flower arrangements in the middle of the table?" "Why don't you just put a single flower on each table?" I suggested. The two servants looked at each other, horrified. "A single flower," they said. Prince Philip cleared his throat. "Ahem," he said. "That will be all, thank you," I told the servants. I turned to Philip. "It's so good to see." "Pardon me, Princess," the royal steward bowed, "but I must have your approval on the seating arrangements." "Thank you," I said. "I will look at them as soon as we return," Prince Philip finished. Both me and the steward looked at Philip in surprise. "Where are we going?" I asked. Philip smiled. "Out for a ride, by ourselves." I smiled. It had been just what I had been hoping for. I hurried to change my outfit. As we set off, my prince remembered something. "I'm sorry, dearest. I had forgotten that the royal equestrian guards must come with us." I looked sadly at the 10 riders behind us. Then I leaned down and whispered to Philip's horse, Samson. The horse whinnied and charged away from the palace. My horse, Mirat, galloped after them. Before long, the royal guards were far behind. "Whoa, whoa, Samson!" the prince shouted as his horse raced ahead. "It's all right, Philip," I called. We galloped into the forest, and Samson found a path through the trees. He followed it for a while, and stopped very suddenly. Philip sailed over Samson's head and landed in a stream. "No carrots for you, boy," Prince Philip scolded his horse. He looked up and saw me trying to hide a smile. He grinned. "Do you remember this place?" I asked. Philip waded out of the stream and looked around at the clearing. He pulled off his boots and dumped the water out. Then he set them in the sun to dry. I took off my shoes too. I spun around gracefully, humming a tune. "Yes," Prince Philip said softly, "I remember this place. This is where we first met. I heard you singing sweetly, and then we danced together for the first time." "I will never forget that day," I said, no matter how busy we get with our royal duties. Prince Philip smiled. "Nor will I. When I am with you, all others disappear." Philip and I smiled, wishing we could bring the peacefulness of the glade back to the palace. Our quiet moment ended as the royal equestrians thundered into the glade. Philip put on his boots and cape. Then he picked up a fallen flower and handed it to me. I happily took the gift. "We should go back and get ready for the ball," I said. "You go ahead, dear," Philip said. "I'll be back soon." I nodded. On the way back to the palace, I thought of a surprise for my husband. Meanwhile, Philip had an idea of his own. "Not a word of this to the princess," he said, as my animal friends began to gather some flowers. At the castle, I worked on Philip's surprise for the rest of the afternoon. Servants moved tables, laid tablecloths, and gathered flowers. Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather flittered about, helping wherever they could. More than once, I heard a servant murmur, Our guest will certainly be surprised. I just smiled. It is Prince Philip I want to surprise, I said, not a word of this to him. That night, I had just finished getting dressed when Prince Philip came into the room. He held out a simple crown he had made from flowers. Would you like to wear this too? He asked. Oh, Philip. I put on the flower crown and hugged my husband. It's perfect for this evening. What a lovely gift. I took my prince's hand. Now I have a surprise for you. I led my prince down the stairs to the courtyard. The courtyard was decorated with flowers and trees. Water danced in the fountain. My woodland friends were there too. The glade will always be in our hearts, I whispered, but now it's in our palace too. Just then, Philip's father came over. This is much better than the stuffy balls I usually attend, he said to me. Thank you for all your hard work, my dear. Philip took my hand and led me to the middle of the courtyard. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. I smiled at my husband, and then we began to dance. Like the first time we had met, this too would be a moment to remember. The first song I'm going to sing for you is called Once Upon a Dream. I sang this when I was dancing in the forest with my animal friends. I was hoping that I'd see the prince that I saw in my dreams. And then when I turned around, he appeared. At first, I was a little bit frightened. I told him that I wasn't supposed to speak to strangers, but he told me that we'd met before, once upon a dream, and we began to dance and sing together. I know you, I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you, that gleam in your eyes is so familiar and clean, and I know it's true that visions are seldom all they seem. But if I know you, I know what you'll do. You'll love me at once, the way you did once upon a dream. I know you, I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you, that gleam in your eyes is so familiar a gleam, and I know it's true that visions are seldom always seen. But if I know you, I know what you'll do. You'll love me at once, the way you did once upon a dream. This song is called I Wonder.